excuse me. Now I wonder whether that went live. Did we go live just as I burped? Because that'd be really bad. Oh, we did as well. That's iconic. Oh, that is iconic. Right as I went live. Oh my god. Right, I'm gonna have to wait till people are in the chat. It's gonna be 10 minutes today until anyone's in the chat, I reckon, because I've not put any promos out. I normally do promos. I normally put one over on my YouTube community tab and one over on my Instagram a few hours before the live stream. This week I haven't, so we will see who turns up when. Yeah, God knows what we're talking about today. I've put the title as sales are coming in. Sales are coming in. We will discuss a little bit about that. We will have questions from the chat as well, and we will just have a general chit chat as usual. So yeah, I suppose we'll start with the day today. If you would like to put what's been happening for you today in the chat, then please feel free. Go ahead, whack it in the chat. What have you been up to? What's happened in your life today? Have you been at work? Have you been reselling? Have you had many eBay sales? Have you been doing whatever, whatever it may be? I don't know. There could be 100 possibilities. You've gone for a walk. You've climbed up Everest. You've gone swimming. You've skydived. You've whatever. I want to hear about it. Whack it in the chat. Let's see if we've got some interesting stories in there. Maybe something funny's happened at work. I don't know. Whack all that in the chat anyway. It has been a hectic day today. Oh my god, that light is really playing up at the moment. I don't know what's going on with it, but it did that yesterday, I think it was. And I think it's something to do with when I move. I think maybe it's when I move, it kind of just goes like that. I'm not sure though, because it's not meant to be movement sensitive or anything like that. Can I see the chat? Hang on. Oh yeah, cool. I can see the chat. I just didn't know whether I was on the wrong page again. Hi Adz, I have done 2 videos and have 2 more unboxings. You do a channel now, Buying Space. I didn't know you do a channel. Let me. Oh, I can't go to your page there. I'll have to copy and paste it. One sec. I didn't know you did a channel actually. Maybe I did, but it was so long ago that I forgot. Do you do it on, I would imagine you do it on reselling, right? Jewelry. Oh no. I think I do remember. Yeah, I think I do remember going to your channel once or twice before. I do. I swear I've been to your channel before. I swear I have. It's just I've forgot over time. But yeah, cool. That's good then. It's always good, like when you can bulk edit videos. Well, not bulk edit, but like when you can bulk do videos as well. Like you can actually do 2 or 3 in one go. I try and do that here and there, but I don't do it as often as I should. Like I should do. Obviously, if I'm doing like a philosophy video, it's like an hour anyway, so I'm not gonna bother with doing like 2 or 3 of them in a day. It would just be too much. In fact, some of the philosophy videos have been like 3 hours, so it's like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing 2 or 3 of them in a day. But whenever I've been doing, like if I'm doing more recently, the Lego stuff or the investing stuff, sorry, not the investing stuff, the Lego stuff or the reselling stuff, then I'll do like a couple in a day, or maybe sometimes 3 in a day. I did. Well, I need to do 2 videos because I've got stuff in the shed to do 2 videos for. They've been piling up there for. In fact, I'll need to do a 3rd video because I've got stuff piling up in the shed to do a 3rd video very soon. And I've not done it because at the moment I'm redoing my backdrop, and I want to wait till my backdrop's kind of almost done, like almost there, and it's very, very close to being almost there. So I want to do another video in there once it's kind of there. And so yeah, I think it is quite good to do the bulk shooting. What do we call it? And it block filming, that's what we call it, isn't it? But yeah, I think it is good to do that, and it's like it just makes it so much more efficient, because you can think, right, I can film these today, and then I've got videos for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. It doesn't really matter however long it is, but it's so nice just to be able to do that, and just to know that you've got everything sorted and you've got everything prepped. And I think it's like even more so important when you're busy, when you've got other things on, like if you've got loads of different things you're doing, if you've got a full-time job or whatever. I think it's so nice, and it's important to do that just because of that. You need the time. You need to be able to claim back some of that time and just be able to utilize that for something else. But yeah, we may as well talk a little bit about sales anyway. PvP's joined us. I need 9 more to reach one. You mean videos? 9 more videos to reach 500. Wow. 500 is a lot of videos. When you think to yourself about the number 500, sometimes you think it doesn't sound like a lot. But when you put it in the context of something like 500 videos, that is a lot of videos. That is a lot of videos, because you think, how long does it take, let's say, to do a 5-minute video, a 10-minute video, upload it, all the rest of it, put your title, whatever you're going to put in there, and film it, all that, and do that 500 times. That's a lot. That's a huge amount. In fact, I think I'm coming up on 1,000 as well at the moment. I've checked it a couple of weeks ago, and where do I see now? My channel. Let me check here. Yeah, 949. It'll probably be, I don't know. I was going to try and do it over summer. I was going to try and get to 1,000 over summer, but I don't really think, I don't think I'm going to do it, I don't think I'm going to get over 1,000 for some reason. I think it's just too much. I think it's like 51 videos in 51 videos in 2 months is too much. There's no way I'm doing that. I'd be able to do like maybe 25, because if you think like Thursday talks and then 2 others per week, 8 weeks, 24 videos, 25 videos. So yeah, I'll probably be like half. But I think by the end of the year, if I keep up my YouTube at university, which, I might drop off 1 video a week or something, because there's no way I'm going to be able to do 3 videos a week. I doubt it anyway, unless I'm doing the whole poetry thing, getting it sent to the guy on Fiverr and him doing it for me and stuff, because that basically automates 1 video a week for me, which is brilliant. But yeah, I might be able to do it, but I'll probably be able to do it by the end of the year, and that'd be so cool, because 1,000 videos is like, I've dreamt of that for ages, for absolutely ages and ages and ages, and now coming up to it, it's like weird. It's really, really weird. I think I'm on like 800, well, nearly. I think I'm like 774 or something, but I'm nearly on 800,000 views as well. And my absolute dream with YouTube, like absolute dream, I didn't want any more than this at all, was 1 million views. So I'm like approaching my like absolute goal, for YouTube, and I'm more than overwhelmed by that. I know some people have like these massive goals of 10 million views or 100 million views on my channel or something, but for me it's always been that 1 million views, because I think there's something about that kind of like weird million, like that million number, like 1 million views. I know it's not 1 million people, it's by far not 1 million people, it's probably like 20,000 people, if that, but yeah, actually probably more like 5,000 people, because so many people watch your videos consistently, and so one person could give you like 1,000 views, so it's probably like 5,000. It's probably a similar number to my subscribers, maybe a bit more, maybe about 5,000 to 10,000, because obviously not everyone subscribes. But yeah, it's surreal that it's surreal, like 1 million views, 1 million views. And in fact, my targets were, or still are really, 1 million views, 1,000 videos, and 10,000 subscribers. They've like been my targets. Of course, with subscribers, I've always been a bit more like bullish with my goals. I've always been like, oh yeah, I want to get to 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever. Subscribers are where my kind of more yeah, I would just say bullish goals sit with YouTube. But with views, I'm like 1 million. I'm happy. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I'll look in the chat in a sec. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say, oh, that was it. I was going to talk about sales. What I'll do is I'll look in the chat now and then talk about sales, because if I talk about sales now, I'll miss some questions or whatever in the chat. So PvP says, missed the start. What did I miss? Not a lot. I literally just said hi. I burped at the start, so you missed a burp. But that was about it. There wasn't anything crazy in there or anything. Buying Spread says, my videos from Monday to Tuesday were somewhat episodic. 3 videos going through junk jewelry. Interesting. Get to 1,000 at Christmas and have a Christmas party. 1,000 videos. Yeah, I mean, I probably could. I mean, there's 51 videos. 51 videos in what? Oh yeah, I could easily do that, like 5 months. So what's that? That's 10 videos a month. I could do that. I could do that easy, because that's 2.5 videos a week. 3 video, round it up to 3 videos a week. That's alright. I could do that. That's not too bad. But anyway, as I said at the start, actually PvP, you did miss something. Well, you might have missed this. I'm not sure whether you'd come in just after this. I think maybe you did. But I said, put what's been happening for you guys in the chat today. What's been happening in your life today? What's been going on? What have you done? Have you been at work? Have you been doing reselling? Have you been getting lots of sales? In fact, someone could put in how the sales have been today or something like that, because that would be a nice segue into the kind of, not necessarily topic, but a partial topic of the episode, which is, of course, sales and things like that. I was meaning 9 more subs to reach 5. Oh, you were meaning 9 more subs to reach 500 subs. Wow, I don't know why I assumed videos. I hadn't a clue. But yeah, even so, 300 videos buying space is still incredible. It's still incredible. Because you just, like, to comprehend doing 300 videos, what it takes. Because, I mean, it's not just something that's fleeting. It's not like doing 10 videos or even 20 or 30 videos. It's like you've been doing this for a while. 300 videos is a long time. Actually, you know what I want to check? I want to check how many videos Steve Green's on now, because he was over me. He was like 200 over me or something. I don't know, or 100 over me. I'm typing in Steven. Why am I typing in Steven? Is Steve still going? I've not even checked his channel in forever. Steve Green Adventure, right? Has he even got his channel up? Oh yeah, he has, yeah. Oh, he's still going. Nice. Cool. I didn't know whether he was or not. I'll have to check in on him. I have to like send him a message on Instagram or something. You know what? I need to send like loads of the resellers messages on Instagram just to like check in on them. There's like a couple of people I still message like here and there from the reselling community, but it's very, very sparse. Very, very here, few and far between and stuff. Like Fake Rachel here and there. I messaged Caroline earlier on in the year from Celtic Traders. I've just messaged her again today actually, because I saw on my Facebook and I thought, you know what, I've not blooming checked in with Caroline for ages, so I'll check in with her. But yeah, there's a couple of people who I'll message a bit. Oh yeah, that was what I forgot what I was doing. I was just like flicking back and forth on his channel, but I forgot what he was doing. 1,040 videos Steve's on. So he is like 100 more than me. Wow, that's ridiculous. And that's incredible. Like 1,040 videos. That is a lot. I mean, I know people who have actually got like 10,000. They have done 10,000. Well, I don't know them, but I know of them. People that have done 10,000 videos, and you think, how have you done 10,000 videos? It's like, it's ridiculous. Like, you think, how is that even possible? I don't even understand. Anyway, I didn't say hi to Antoinette. Hi there, Antoinette. I didn't say hi to Shazad. Hi there, Shazad. I didn't say hi to Chrissy. Hi there, Chrissy. So yeah, I may as well get on with the topic anyway. So I wanted to briefly talk. What I will do is I'll do a sales update anyway, because I'll be coming to the point about now, I think, where I've got just about enough to do a sales update. So the last couple of weeks, I want to say what date was it? Yeah, I want to say it was like a couple of weeks ago, maybe just shy of a couple of weeks ago. I started putting things back on eBay again. Obviously, I'd kind of done bits and bobs at university, but not much, not really much. But I started putting things back on eBay, and then last week I said how I'd got up to 35 listings, and that was really cool. That I kind of didn't even realise that I had listed that much in a sense. I thought, oh right, I got 35 on, that's really cool. So obviously from that I've started to have a few sales. I think I'm like up to 8 sales. Actually, you know what? Why instead of like speculating, why not I just get it up? It'd be so much easier just to get it up. And no one make an innuendo out of that, because that could be easy, like to make an innuendo out of. That'd just be low hanging fruit. I mean, that really would just be low hanging fruit. So you're not having it. Well, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 if I'm including the other one from June, because that one, well, actually 8 if I'm including that one from June, but that was just before I left Bangor. So yeah, between 6 and 8 sales really. And so I'm getting to that point where I've got just about enough for a sales update, and yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. You know what? I've really enjoyed coming back to eBay. I've really enjoyed like just doing it on a really low level. I really like doing it on that low level because there's not really much stress involved with it. You just think, well, I've got a couple of items to pack once every 4 or 5 days. It's nice. I just go in the shed, pack them up. Takes me literally like 10 minutes, if that sometimes. Obviously, it depends on the item. And then label them up. Dead quick to label them up because it's only 1 or 2 items. And then send them off. And it's brilliant. And the great thing about in my local town, we now have 2 parcel post boxes. Now, if you are fortunate to have a parcel post box near you, now I don't think there was one in Bangor. No, I don't think there was one in Bangor. But if you are fortunate to have one near you, which that's actually really odd because Bangor's a city, whereas Northwich is a town. Yet we have 2 parcel post boxes in Northwich, but none in Bangor. That's really odd. I think we need to start some sort of petition. I'm going to start a petition. No, I'm not. We all know I'm not going to do it, so why am I saying it? I really want to start a petition, but I've not got the drive to start a petition. So someone start a petition for me to get a parcel post box put in Bangor, somewhere easy and accessible, so that then I don't have to walk very far because I'm lazy. So yeah, I think it's brilliant if you're fortunate enough to have a parcel post box near you. It's great. You just whack them in there, put it down, boom, in there we go, done. You're all like sorted. And obviously, if you've got a delivery office near you, it's not too bad anyway, because you just go up and, sometimes there's like a little queue, but often you can go in at a time when there isn't a queue. So it's not too bad, but if you're having to like wait at the post office in a queue for whatever reason, sometimes like maybe you can't just drop it off straight away, maybe you can't just literally drop and go, you do have to wait a little bit, then it can kind of get a bit like, but I suppose the other thing is, like, with me doing 2 items, I can do the parcel post box, and it's okay. Like, I can just put them in a parcel post box. Even if I was doing, like, 4 or 5, I could probably just put them in the parcel post box, save going in anywhere. But, if you've got, like, a big sack and stuff, then you can't do it, can you? You end up having to go to the post office, and if you have to wait, you have to wait. But the fact is, the parcel post boxes are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm so glad we have 2 here now. Like, it's just so easy. So yeah, the one thing that I've really enjoyed with getting back on eBay is just the enjoyment of doing it as more of a hobby. I mean, obviously it's not a hobby. I do run it as a business. I do have my tax return. Actually, funnily enough, I did my tax return the other day. And as the years go on, it is getting a little bit harder because I end up having dividends now, and I have crypto, and I have all the rest of it. And each year, I seem to add something else that I'm doing with my investing, so then it gets more complex. But it's still just about manageable, so long as I keep my accounts in check throughout the year, you know. But I think there will come a time where, and I've said this for a long time, but there will come a time where I'm just like, I'll get an accountant and I'll just do it that way because, you know, it's not a huge amount of time for me to do my accounting, but when it gets to the point where, you know, I'm playing with bigger numbers and stuff, then, you know, which I can probably see like after university or maybe a little while after university, and it depends on how my investing goes and stuff, then then it'll be like accountant, get that, just get it done, get it out my hair, and then I don't need to worry about that sort of stuff. Because, you know, I mean, it takes a little bit of time here and there. It's mainly when I'm doing my tax return or when I'm doing, you know, things to do with that, collating all the information and all the rest of it. But yeah, so it is nice to do it as a hobby. It is nice to do it as a hobby, and it's nice just to kind of have that there as it is. It's just lovely. It's just, I can't even explain like how chill it is, and that's the perfect word for it. It's just chill. It's just like, it's so chill. If you've been on for a decade, I can see it. Oh, like in like 10,000 videos. Yeah, but even a decade, I mean, how many videos does that break down to in a day? Like, really, how much does that break down to in a day? You think 3,650 days in a decade, right? So that means you've got to do 3 videos a day. 3 videos a day to get 10,000 videos over a decade. You know where you're doing 3 videos. You burn, like, I mean, some people do it. That's how they have got to 10,000 videos. But I don't see how you're doing that. You burn out. And then on every video, you'd kind of be coming across as, like, really dull and really kind of like, oh, not, you know, I've got to do another video kind of thing. You know, I can see it over maybe like 15 years, something like that, because then that maybe works out at 2 videos a day or 1.5 videos a day. Well, I suppose 20 years would be, I don't know, would 15 or 20 years be 1.5 videos a day? Maybe 20 years. But no, it would be, it'd still be hard even at that. So it is a long time. But the thing is, YouTube hasn't been going for 20 years. It was 2005, so it's only been going maximum, 15, 16 years. So you think they've only had at maximum 15 years, 16 years. But no one really knew about YouTube in 2005. Not many people anyway. You know, it was like at least 2007, 2008 when some people were starting to really come on the scene. So you think maybe they've been around since 2007, let's say. 14 years to do 10,000 videos plus. I mean, God, that is an achievement. That is an achievement, you know. It's Canada Day today. Have the day off. Is it? Let me type it in. Is Canada Day a thing? Canada Day. Never heard of that. But you know, I'm not in Canada, am I? So you wouldn't hear of it. There you go. I was going to make a joke then. I'm not going to make a joke. My mind is so bad. Okay, Thursday, 1st of July, Canada Day 2021. Wow, Canada Day. Canada Day is the why don't we have a UK day or something, or like why don't France have like a French day or France Day or whatever? Canada Day is the National Day of Canada, a federal statutory, I can never pronounce that word, statutory holiday. It celebrates the anniversary of Canadian Confederation, which occurred on July 1st, 1867. Wow, cool. Oh, I've gone on the wrong tab. One sec. Oh, that's still the wrong tab. There we go. Right, there we go. Canada is 154. Oh, so I get it. I get what it is then. That's cool. That's cool. Hug a teddy bear today. Why? Is that like good luck or something on Canada Day? Hi Mark, I was told by eBay a few weeks ago that it's all about buyer experience. Well, I mean, of course, like eBay will always say it's about buyer experience. Um, but to be fair to them, I mean, I can't really comment too much because I'm not a full-time reseller anymore or anything like that. But to be fair to them, they sometimes give the seller a bit more, you know. Whereas I think in the past they've been a bit more like buyer focused and stuff, and they are definitely buyer focused, like obviously. But I think from time to time they do give the seller a bit more credit. But you know, God, it is what it is with eBay. They're always going to be more on the buyer. They're always going to be more on the buyer. I had 2 Sprinter vans full collected by Royal Mail today. 2 Sprinter vans full. 2 Sprinter vans full. That is mental. That's ridiculous. Just conceptualize that amount of stuff in those vans. That is crazy. That is like a crazy amount of stuff. It's from Hetelia. The character of Canada carries around a teddy bear. The character of Canada. I didn't know Canada had a character. Let me type it in. Oh, God. It has been a hectic day today. I can't see it. Oh, well. In a normal year, there would be lots of celebrations with bands and large crowds. Still have fireworks, but no crowds. Oh, yeah, I suppose it's a bit... I mean, it's been crap for everything, hasn't it? All these kind of usual celebrations that we've had, it's just been crap, you know? In fact, there was not really any... I don't even really remember Bonfire Night last year. Did Bonfire Night really happen the same? I don't think it did. Did Halloween even happen? What even happened with Halloween and Bonfire Night last year? Did people even do it? Did we do it? What even? I can't even remember. Oh, I think I was at uni, so yeah, I know why. I don't remember Bonfire Night and Halloween because I was at uni, and I don't think I experienced it the same because of that. Like I didn't. Obviously, there was no trick or treaters around or anything like that. That's what I said. I was wondering why I didn't understand, like why I couldn't fathom why I'd not remembered it. But yeah, it was definitely that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. PvP. It's just hopefully it'll subside at some point, but you just don't know. You just don't know at the moment. I mean, it's still okay. We've got the vaccines and everything, but what is to say that a variant, one of these bloody variants that keep springing up all over the place? What's to say one of them can't just bypass the vaccine and then that takes us right back to square one? I mean, yeah, okay, maybe you could argue that, well, there might be some sort of low-level effect to the vaccines that we've already got, and because of the research that they've done, maybe they'll be able to create a new vaccine pretty quickly. But still, I mean, it takes us back to virtually square one for at least a few months. So, you just don't know. You just don't know. I was saying that to my friend yesterday when we were having a chat. And it was like, you honestly, you just don't know what's going to happen. And, oh yeah, you know what? I've had a right nightmare getting my second jab. Because I had my first one in May at Bangor. Brilliant thing was, I may have said this on a live stream going way back when, I don't know, like 2 months ago. But we had it early because of the university. I don't know, somehow the university had got us in there early, and all of the bloody 18, 19-year-old students were having it in May. And some people even had it before me. And obviously I'm older than them. I'm like 6-7 years older, but obviously that was the way it went. And so what happened was we managed to get it early, got it there, But then I come back home and I was thinking to myself, well, I'll go back to Bangor to have my second one because that's where I was booked in for and all the rest of it. But I also thought, 'cause I had heard from someone basically that you can't get it changed. You will not be able to get it changed. But anyway, the other week I tried ringing up places. I rang up the 119. I rang up 119. They redirected me to my GP surgery. They then redirected me back to 119, who redirected me back to my GP surgery. And after all these phone calls of practically getting nowhere, both of them redirected me to one another. There was basically not a very easy way, not a simple way at all of just getting it here, getting it in the UK, because the two systems are separate from one another. And so you've got the Welsh healthcare system, which basically, from an admin standpoint, they're separate from one another. Of course, like the NHS is throughout the UK and everything, but from an admin point of view, they're separate. And so it's apparently not easy. I think it probably is quite easy. I think it's kind of just one thing on a computer to say, oh, you were here, now you're here. But, trying to get to the person who will actually do that is a bloody bugger. So we all, everyone say, oh, I can't do that, I can't change that, I can't do this, I can't do the other. And you're back about, and I rang up someone else as well in Bangor actually, before I came home. This was one of the reasons why I realised, I couldn't get it changed. They said that, again, it's not their department, they can't do anything with it, and they don't know whether I could get it changed. Anyway, long story short, well, no, not long story short, because I just rambled anyway, but there might be the possibility of me getting the jab at one of these drop-in centres, so long as I provide them with a certain amount of information. Now, I tried to go on the NHS app, because what I had done was I had booked in two jabs, because I couldn't book in a second dose, so I had to book in a first and a second dose. I had booked in there for my local centre, and what I was going to do was, on the advice of the GP on the phone, was download the NHS app, show them my medical records, so that then they could know which thing, know my medical history, all the rest of it. Maybe that shows which vaccine I've had. Then they could just jab me there and then when I'm there for my appointment. I'll tell them that I don't need a second dose because this is my second dose, and I can show them my card, and then boom, we're done. Now, the GP said, the receptionist said to me, it would be very unlikely that you'd just be able to go with your card. You'd have to download this app and show it them more officially. Now, I don't know about that, because I think you might be able to go with your card, because it's still fairly official to show them your card. But anyway, that's besides the point. And I logged into this app, and it said, sorry, you can't use this app because you're on the Welsh healthcare thing or whatever. So I couldn't download it. I couldn't get bloody access to my medical records. So I was like, oh, for God's sake, this is mental. So what I decided to do, instead of chancing it, which I possibly could have done, but it might have been a bit, I wasn't sure about it. Instead of chancing it, just going with my card and all the rest of it, I decided to unbook those doses. Then I was going to go, right, I'm going back to bloody Bangor. I'll do that. I'm not messing around anymore with this. I'll just go for Bangor when the day comes around. But now I've got this new possibility of going to this drop-in centre. So, yeah, it's been a nightmare. It's been, like, all over the place. It's been all over the place. But this is the problem. Katie said to me, and I think Ren said to me as well, a couple of my flatmates, they said, if you get it in Wales, you will not be able to get the second dose in England. And I thought, well, I'm going for it anyway, because I want to get this jab over with. I'll just get it done, all the rest of it. And I got it, and I did it, and then I got told, of course, I have to have it in Bangor. And so, I should have just said, you know what, I'm going to wait. But I'm not like that. I like to get things done, I like to, especially things that I'm a bit apprehensive about. With the jab, I was a little bit apprehensive about it, and I like to get these things done. I like to jump into the fear and just sort it out and get it done and dusted. And And so that's what I did, but it turned out that it was a bad thing for me in the end because it was a bloody nightmare. But anyway, that's oh god, you just can't, you just can't bloody get these things right. Anyway, I've already read that. I can only stop in for a minute. No worries, Susie. But I wanted to say hi. I imagine you won't read this for at least 30 minutes. Hey, about 10 minutes that was, I think. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That was bloody good. Yeah, it was. It was 4 phone calls, PvP. 4 phone calls. 119, then the thing, then 119, then the thing again. And, the GP. And obviously, as I say, previous to that, I'd already phoned up someone a couple of weeks, for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was about 2 weeks previous in Bangor to see about this bloody jab as well. So it was bloody 5 phone calls just to get practically nowhere. But anyway, bugger it. It's done now. It's done, and I'm gonna get my jab, whether I get it here or whether I get it on the 23rd in Bangor. I'm going to get it, and then that'll be that done. It's not going to be a thing that'll come back and there'll be more problems with it or anything like that. The only thing would be is maybe if I need to have a booster at some point, but by that time I'll probably be back in Bangor and I'm registered with a GP. The fundamental problem was as well that I wasn't registered with a GP here in England anymore. I'm registered in Bangor, so that was causing a bit of a problem as well. So yeah, that was a bit of an issue. But I'll be back in Bangor then in the winter. So if I have to have a booster, bugger it, just go down to the centre where I had it. It might be another centre, I'm not sure, but go down to that centre or a different one, and then just have that, and I'm done. I'm cool, so that'll be all right. But it's when I'm back here, if ever I'm back, like for example, if we need jabs next year or something, I doubt we will, because I think it'll probably be after either these 2 jabs or after a 3rd jab. They'll just do it for older people, like a flu vaccine. Like is it over like 40 or over 50 or something? No, it might even be longer than that, but I swear it's like over 50 or something like that you get the flu jab every year. It might actually be over 60 or over 70, but you know what I mean anyway. So I think it'll work like that, and then it means my age. Well, it doesn't really matter if you get it, you get it, and you've had your couple of vaccines here, and that'll give you 6 months, 12 months of protection, whatever the numbers are at the minute. I don't know. I've heard all sorts of different things. People have said to me, oh, it protects you for 3 months. People say, oh, it protects you for 6 months. People say, oh, it protects you for 12 months. Bugger it, however long it protects you. That's how long it protects you for. But yeah, that's that. It was annoying when I found that out, actually, because I thought, oh, right, so this is just like a permanent thing. You just get the jab. Like tetanus, where you have your jab and then you have a booster like 10 years later or something. But that's that. That's like, it's done. And I thought it was that. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant, because then we're done. But it's not that, So that was a bit annoying when I found that out, because it's like, it's not really like for young people, I think, like, is there really any point in having it? Because, there's that argument, isn't there? So long as all the old people have had it, and all the people like over a certain age, and all the people with bad conditions and stuff. I don't know about the passing it though. I suppose if you've not had the vaccine, I don't think you can pass it to someone else who's had the vaccine, can you? If you've not had the vaccine. I think it's only that you could get it. I think that's right. So, like for the young people, it's like, it's arguable whether it's necessary really, or whether it's just superfluous, but I suppose it does, for this, let's say this first time, it does like stop the virus in its tracks more. So I think it's kind of necessary for young people to have these 2 jabs, but in a year or 2, I don't think it's necessary that young people continue to have the jab, especially like 18-year-olds, or 20-year-olds, or even maybe my age, maybe like mid-20s, maybe up to 29, 30, something like that. But yeah, maybe from a philosophical viewpoint, it would be better, from a more practical philosophical viewpoint, it might be better for what they've done in giving it to everyone just to stop the virus dead. Or a bit, not dead, but nearly, get it really, really down. Then not do the young people afterwards, but really concentrate on making sure the older people are protected. Then that's more of a concern. But I've been debating a bit, kind of throughout the pandemic, philosophically, on what this means, on how people should have structured it, how it could have been really well structured, and all the rest of it, and what we need to do moving forward, and all that. And I don't really have great philosophical opinions on it or anything. I've not really found any gems, of what really we could have done. I think the only way, because I was like, well, at first I was thinking they should have just locked us down completely. But the problem was, if we had done that, you see, if we had entered kind of a very autocratic state for a while, where we're closing down everything immediately, where even one case comes in and stuff, to the country, everything just gets shut down and we eradicate it. You wouldn't be able to logistically do it, I don't think. So, yeah, okay, well, I'd say, well, that would be a good way of going about it, but it wouldn't actually be a good way of going about it, because logistically it wouldn't really work. Because my initial idea was get soldiers all out on the street, socially distanced, and literally lock people in their houses, literal martial law type crap, dictator type crap, but for the good of the country, just to get it eradicated. No planes in, no ships in, all that sort of stuff. But then I was like, well, logistically, how does that work? Because, you could just see that, well, you're not going to have ships in, so you're not going to get, certain food, imports coming in. How are people going to eat if they're not allowed out of the houses? So you're going to starve them for 2 or 3 weeks so that then you can get the virus out completely and then let them out of the houses when the virus is out? It's very, very morality issues and stuff come in. So, and logistical and morality issues come in. So it just wouldn't work. It would be a very, very effective strategy if you could move it in a certain way, but it wouldn't be moral and it wouldn't be practically logistical. Theoretically, possibly, but practically not so much. So yeah, but what kind of bloody person I would be if I were in charge? I would be just I'd be very, very dictatorish. I'm a very liberal person in my personality, but I'm very kind of dictatorish in my style of governance, shall we say. I wouldn't be I'm doing the Mr. Burns thing at the moment. Excellent, it's like a Mr. Burns thing. So yeah, no, but that's kind of how I am, and it's really, really odd that it strikes me as really, really odd, because my personality is so diametrically opposed to that. My personality is diametrically opposed to itself, because I've got this side here, which is very this way, and then this side here, which is very this way. It's really, really odd. Yet I can hold those two in my mind with some level of clarity and some level of integration, I suppose. Not a perfect level of integration, but some level of integration. But yeah, it's an odd one. It's an odd one. But, at the end of the day, you can't be immoral with people, so you have to make sure that these things that you're going to do are going to be moral, as well as logistical, as well as being able to have the best approach to the situation as possible. In an ideal world, of course, well, it would be moral, it'd be logistical, and it would be the best approach to the situation. But you're never going to get that. You're going to have, well, it's a fairly okay approach to the situation. It's very moral, and the logistics are okay. And that's what you're going to favour. You're going to favour, you're going to favour morality more over the, let's say, the approach per se. And the only reason that's favoured really is because of rulers having kind of persona fears, oh well, how would I be perceived if everyone in the country knew I was immoral because of the actions I took, but ultimately it got us through this bad situation. So it's a lot of people, a lot of rulers and a lot of politicians and stuff will favour the moral approach, but don't be deceived that that's some beautiful thing that they're really moral. We all know they're not that moral. They would have taken the immoral route, but they just want to secure their position in the hearts of the nation. That's all they're doing. That's not, it's not any any real moral beauty in that. They're only favouring that response because it's like, well, I need to make sure that I come out of this looking good, Whereas I'm not about that. If I was a politician, I'd just be like, look, I'm a bastard, I'm corrupt, I'm out for myself, but look, I'll try and give us some sort of order and some sort of direction in this country, and we'll try and be a strong country, but be under no illusion I'm a bastard. And I'd just be like that. I'd be like direct, So, but people don't. Politicians can't do that. You can't do that because it's kind of like it's almost so on the nose that people don't like it, because people know that politicians are bad underneath, but they like the fact that there's a facade there. They like the fact that they come across as this kind of okay guy who's a little bit evil, but not like crazy evil. But they don't want to see like the real kind of shadow of the politician. We don't want to see that. And I mean, it's kind of just like what happened recently with the Hancock affair and all the rest of it. They don't want to see that side. And I know that's not specifically politics, but that's obviously it's within the domain of politics, but it's more of a personal thing. But nonetheless, it's relating to his personality and the shadow side of his personality. And people don't want to see that, you see. They don't want to see that. And when someone apologises about it and all the rest of it, like he did, for one, I watched that apology video of his, and I would say there wasn't much genuineness in that, to be honest. I think that if he was going to do it, if he had the opportunity to do it again, and he didn't think there was going to be any repercussions, he would have done it again. With no doubt about that in my mind specifically. And I think people can see this. I think everyone can see this, can pick up on that. And so when we do an apology video, people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't know about this guy, because they've kind of blasted through that persona then, and they've got to the real core of that person, and then they're like, oh, I don't know, actually, I'm not certain. So you see, it's too on the nose. So if a politician's like that, it's not gonna fly that well. You need kind of like they need to think, they need to believe that there is enough evil in a politician, so that then they've got a strong character, and so they've got some bite to them. But there's not too much evil that they're actually able to consider that man someone too dangerous or too immoral or anything like that. There needs to be some sort of moral persona in place. Otherwise, it's like, ooh, so. Anyway, that's just my takes on certain things. And I don't like the philosophy of politics. I do not like the philosophy of, contrary to what I have just said about the philosophy of politics, I do not like the philosophy of politics. I consider myself apolitical. I do not do the political thing, because to me it's just two sides fighting against each other, and it's just constant like that. It's just constant bickering. It's like going to a football match and like the two sides are bickering together. It's like, why not just enjoy the game, And some people do, and some football fans are brilliant for that, and they're like the better football fans. But a lot of people are just like spouting off, like proper getting aggressive at the other side, and the other side are getting aggressive at them. And it's like, what's the point? And you see this, it's like a bloody football match in what is it? Is it the House of Commons? I think it's the House of Commons, because there's loads in it. There's like House of Lords and all the rest of it. But whenever you see them on TV, in not necessarily. No, actually, yeah, I suppose Prime Minister's questions, but also like other things as well. They're always like spouting off each other, shouting, and then you've got the bloody, all of them sat behind on the green chairs, all bloody going, yeah, oh yeah, that's really good, and then laughing, and it's like, what, are you in a pub, or are you in like a place of business here? Because clearly you're not, you're just children messing around, That's not what, That's not what it should be. That should be for 9 p.m. down the pub. All this like, yeah, you get him, bloody whatever, or Johnson, yeah, you've really showed him. And it's all, and you're doing this in the bloody seats. And you're like, what the hell? These people are leading our country. You're like, why don't you just go down the bloody pub? And it's like, and it's so funny because a lot of like the real highbrow, like rich people like that, because they're really rich people and they're like bred into it as well. Like they're a lot of the time like it's a lineage or like their fathers had influence or whatever to get them there, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so they think they're like superior to all like, let's say, working class people who are down the pub and over, but they're exactly the same. They're just doing it in another domain. It's like, what the hell? It's so ridiculous. But they just think they're superior because they're on an intellectual level of doing it, or are doing it kind of within this kind of intellectual field in a sense, whereas they're not. They're just exactly the same. Because it's all instinctual. It's all the same instincts of this kind of aggression and dominance and wanting to be like, oh yeah, all that sort of stuff. It is just funny, and it's also a lot of like collective crowd psychology as well, where you all go along with the crowd. So like one person says something, and then another person joins in, and then another person joins in, and then automatically you're all just going along with this crowd, and you're just fed into the unconsciousness of the crowd, and it's like, well, it's a bloody point in it. It's just ridiculous. It's just like, it's ridiculous, but. Well, young folks, yeah, actually, that's a good point, PvP. Young folks have died too. In fact, even like, I think young people who have not necessarily had underlying conditions, I think they've died as well. Like, I don't think it's just young people who have had like underlying conditions. So there's a debate there, and I think that, obviously, that's why I said, like, I think it might have been correct. I think it was correct for them to do everyone the first time. And that is a good argument for exactly that, You can spread the virus regardless of you're vaccinated or not. Wow, I didn't realise that. The vaccine helps reduce the effects if you get infected. That's it. That's all it does. Holy crap. I thought it gives you proper protection, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't get it. Like, imagine like it just enters you. And then, like, all your white blood cells are like, F you, bitch. And then it just, like, disintegrates it. And it's like, yeah, you can't touch me. You can't touch... Oh, no. You can't touch this, but maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's more like, oh, crap, coronavirus. What do we do? Quick, get him, boys. Do. Ah, no, he's got me. No, he's got me. Oh, don't worry, mate. I'll get... Boom. And then they're there for about 2 weeks until they finally got it off. But, they're a bit better. They're a bit better than they were, They're like just these little blobs. But, they've at least got like a handgun or something now. They've got a bit of something. But I thought it was like the bloody white blood cells get PPSHs or something. And they're there like spraying like 1,000 bullets a minute into the bloody coronavirus. Like that. But maybe it's not. I don't know. My conception of what's it called? There's a word for it. There's a field for it, isn't there? Oh, yeah, I know the field. Microbiology? That's the field. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of them. It's something like that. And my conceptions of that must be so bizarre. It's like, no, that is not how it happens, Adam. That's not at all how it happens. But you believe that if you want to believe that. Yes, your white blood cells get guns and they're firing down the vaccine. Yeah, okay. Ads for PM. Lock them all up. Who needs morals? I know, right? Well, I'm just not, I'm just not going to bullshit people. It's like, that's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. It would have been, no, it isn't. It isn't PvP. It's not easy to shut everything down. That's the thing. Like, logistically, it would just fall flat on its face. It would just be like, no, you can't do this. There's no way you're doing this. So it just wouldn't happen. Florida has opened back and no mask required. Oh, whoa. No mask. God, can you imagine going back to no mask? That'd be so nice, because it's everywhere you go. I have to get my mask out every bloody 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, right, okay, mask again. It was like that in Bangor whenever we'd go out, because sometimes the girls would go out and I'd tag along, and then I'd be going other places after that and all the rest of it. And throughout the day, here, there, everywhere, mask. Oh God, you gotta get your mask on, and then the girls are telling me, Adam, you gotta get your mask on before you bloody go in the shop. And because I'm like getting to the store, like right near the entrance, and I'm like, oh crap, mask, yeah, I forgot. And then they always tell me off, because about 30 seconds or a minute before I go out the door, you know, like where there's a supermarket and you have like that kind of, you know, when you've got a front door and then you have another door after it, and you have like a little porch thing or something like that. Anyway, you know, in a supermarket they have the automatic doors, and then they have another set. Why the hell do we even have that? But we have a set of automatic doors, and then another set. That's probably just a waste of money, to be honest, but we may as well just have one set of automatic doors. But they do that, they have two. And when I get to the first, just as I'm approaching the first automatic doors to go out, I'm like, right, mask off. And then the girls are always like, Adam, no, you're not allowed to take the mask off yet. And all, it's quite funny. And then I end up walking out, and I'm like, oh, thank God the mask is off. It's off. Thank God. I can't take this anymore. It's not fair. I don't want this. Yeah, but it's bad. It's bad, the mask. Everyone should be welded into their homes for the next 4 years. It's a disgrace that anyone is allowed to die from the Wuhan. Oh my God. What is that? I don't even know. One side of ads would lock the other side up. Yes, that's exactly right. It would be really, it'd kind of be bads locking up ads, and because if let's really dissect this here. It's bads. Bads is the kind of more conservative, kind of like dictatorish person, and then Adz is this kind of very, very liberal character. It's very, very kind of like, oh yeah, out here, you know, all that sort of stuff. So they're the two dichotomies, in a sense. They're the two kind of opposites that play out, and that bads would lock up ads, basically. And ads would be infuriated, in a sense, by bads kind of just not lack of a morality, but more so like a part of that, but more so kind of just like his colourlessness, in a sense. Because there is colour in bads, but it's in different ways. It's expressed in very, very weird and wonderful ways that are a lot different to how ads would express it. But this is the weird thing. There's some of bads in ads, and there's some of ads in bads, because bads has like this creativity in his sexual promiscuity that is very, very similar to the creativity in ads. But ads kind of has like this kind of almost, I don't know how to call it, like a kind of reserved nature in certain attitudes that he has. I don't even know how to explain it. Like it kind of isn't a reserved nature. It's kind of like this sort of, it's a desire for almost like some of the conservatism. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a desire for a bit of the conservatism in bads, and it's kind of like that's always present in ads. And so it's kind of the two are, there's only like bits of them in the other, but but they're very diametrically opposed, and they're very, imagine if we're to define them as the opposites, like you are defining them as the opposites. Bads would literally be thinking, ads would be feeling. You know, ads would be mystical, bads would be atheistic. Bads would be extroverted, ads would be more creatively introverted. You know, bads would be more practically extroverted, ads more creatively introverted. Ads would be a liberal in politics, they would be left wing. Bads would be right wing. You know, so it really is that. It's those two working in my personality, like clashing and throwing up, and woo. I can't even explain it. I don't even know, but it's weird. He's smarter than Boris. No, God, am I hell smarter than... Bloody hell. Did you not see that book that Boris wrote on Churchill? I was flicking through it in a charity shop the other day, and I was very surprised with how... I mean, I knew he was a smart guy and everything. I don't know where he went. Did he go to Eton or something like that? I can't remember. But, it was one of the good universities. And he he's a smart, like, he's really smart. I mean, you know, he doesn't show it. We all know this. Like, he's off doing all these random wacky things. And, you know, like, before he was, I never said president, man. Before he was prime minister, you know, he's doing all these wacky things and all the rest of it. You know, he was doing the bloody skydiving and the Boris bikes and all that. I suppose that wasn't too wacky, but there was loads of different things here, there. He's a wacky guy, and he came out of his house with, you've probably seen this clip on YouTube, came out of his house with like 8 cups of teas for these reporters. Just like dressed in like really scruffy clothing. He comes out and he's like, I just made you a cup of tea. And he said, I don't want to answer any questions. I'm not going to answer any questions. I just made you, just have a cup of tea. Please just have a cup of tea. It's like really funny. And but he does all these wacky, crazy things. And in front of a camera on interviews, you know, sometimes he comes across as intelligent, but then other times he really just, you think, no, you're fumbling, you're this, you're that, the other. But he's, you know, no, make no mistake, he's an intelligent guy, and he's a shadowy guy as well. He's got a good shadow on him. Like, he's got a strong shadow side of his personality, and that's what comes through when he needs it, when he needs to stand up for what his party believes in and what his direction wants to be. He'll stand up for himself. He will, you know, direct himself and direct others, you know. I don't think he's the best leader in the world or anything like that. Like, many other people who'd be better leaders. One of the best leaders from a philosophical perspective, and this isn't necessarily opening up to my political opinions or anything, because as I say, I'm very, very removed from politics. The only interest I have in politics in any sense is just some minor philosophical speculation and stuff, and how it ties in with certain philosophical ideas that I've learned about, like Zen ideas and Taoist ideas and all that. And so the best philosophical leader that I have seen is Barack Obama. From modern times, the best philosophical leader, him hands down. The amount of Zen that guy has, the amount of Taoist kind of principles that he's had, and that he can like utilize is brilliant. Whatever I see of him on interviews and stuff, which I've watched quite a few up to this point now, and he really does testify that what like the Taoists would call that man of Tao, and also even the Zen master. Like he really typifies the Zen master, and he really typifies that in a kind of societal role in the environment of being in society and living in society. In the Confucian philosophy, you could very much align him with the Confucian noble-minded man, which is a conception which is similar kind of like to any kind of idea of a Zen master and stuff. Really, I mean, of course there are subtleties and stuff, and I think it's Ju philosophy, Ju in Confucianism, but I've not read anything on Confucianism in a while, so don't quote me on that. It might be spelt differently, but it is Ju. I think that's where you pronounce it. And there's intricacies with it that are a little bit different to just kind of Zen philosophy or Taoist philosophy. In Confucianism, they more focus on becoming, let's say, a person who is within the Tao, within the flowing of the Tao, who has access to Wu Wei and things like that, but in a societal life, encapsulated in society. Whereas the Taoists, and certain Taoists, for example, like Zhuangzi, would be less inclined to go to the whole societal side. They would be more away from society, more naturalist. They would be... imagine you've got Confucianism here, and you've got like Confucius. And then you've got over here, you've got the cynics, the Greek cynic philosophers, the dog philosophers they called them. They nicknamed them, with Diogenes, who would just go off and piss everywhere and wank in public and all that, like crazy stuff. He would just live as naturally as a dog. hence why they were called, and not just that, they were called the dog philosophers because Diogenes actually was basically was hanging out with dogs near like bins and all the rest of it, so we got nicknamed that. I forget the Greek word for dog, by the way, but that was the nickname. And so if you've got that extreme over here, and then you've got, let's say, the integrated spiritual man in society over this side in the Confucians, the Taoists are kind of like in the middle. They're not as extreme as Diogenes. They're not as extreme. They're not as like societally integrated as the Confucians. So a good pairing for Obama would be, he's very close to that kind of Zen master / Confucian noble-minded man, and as far as I'm aware, he's done it very well. He has done it very well. And if I find another person who's done it that well, I don't think it'll be too soon, you know. And I think I would have to look back in history as well a bit more to be able to find that in politics, because that's the sort of... And I'm not saying he's perfect or anything. No one's perfect. I think there could still be other people who are better than that. And there may even have been people who are better than that in the last 50 years or so. I don't know anything about the history of politics or anything, so there could have been. But for me, he seems to typify those ancient kind of traditional ideas of the let's say the superior man, or the great man kind of thing, the man who is Zen, the man who is flowing with the Tao, all that sort of stuff. You just see it so much in interviews, and you see it even like the best you see it in him is when he's like going out to like you know, what do we call them, presidential duties or whatever. Or even like when he's going out and like he's just chatting to people on the street. He's a very, very Zen guy. He's a very, very, very... he's very Taoist in his outlook, you know. So, yeah, you know, there's that. And I see that a lot. So that's not true. I mean, Boris is less like that. Boris isn't really that great with all that sort of stuff. So, you know, he's got it in him. He's got it in him. For sure, but he just doesn't. He seems to not portray it that well, you know, that kind of smooth. Because Obama's got this smoothness that he can portray with it as well, which is very, very hard to get access to. That smoothness is very, very hard to get access to. So, yeah, so that's what we look for. We look for those Taoist Zen things within a leader, because it's very, very hard to get to that level of experience, to that level of being able to be flowing with the course of nature, the Tao, and to be unimpeded by your own internal nature, and to be unconflicted by your own internal nature as well. That's very, very hard. Believe me, I've tried for many years, and I'm not anywhere near that. Not anywhere near that. I'd be lucky to get anywhere close to that by the time I'm bloody 50 odd. So, you know, it's very hard. It's very, very challenging, and it takes a lot of awareness. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of focus, and it takes a long time. By any good estimate, it takes the entire first 50 years of your life, and then after 50, you're a bit better. You could argue maybe 40 or 45, but really, you know, I'd say about 50. So, yeah, you know, I see that in him, but the rest, not so much as far as I'm aware. But anyway, I've rambled on that for ages. But it's very interesting because it's a little hobby. You know, I have these little psychological hobbies and philosophical hobbies that I go off on. And I think about these things, and I put time into these things because it's important to assess what a good leader might be, and how we can discern a good leader from a bad leader, and how certain people will be able to take on board the responsibility and the stresses of leadership with the necessary gusto and the necessary kind of directedness and focus, and how we can even like breed more of those people in a sense, not breed in a sense of produce those people, you know, produce more babies like that, but how we can breed them in a socialized setting, how we can breed more individuals like that in our education system, or even like in the way we ourselves bring up our children. How can we allow them to be better people, better leaders, etc.? Because not everyone's a leader, and so it is about discerning whether, let's say, a specific child is, let's say, a leader, or is someone in a specific field who has a specific set of traits that will allow them to be something particularly interesting in a specific field. It's like very obvious when a child, for example, 6 or 7 years old, they start to really show an interest in dinosaurs. Well, what do? Do you dismiss that and as a parent, and you say, well, yeah, dinosaurs are interesting, I suppose, but you know what's really interesting? Music is quite interesting, and obviously maybe the parent's interested in music, so they want to direct the child a bit in that direction, and they kind of ignore the dinosaur thing. But don't ignore that. You can't ignore that, and a lot of parents do know not to ignore that. A lot of parents will just give their child as they see fit, and there's a lot of wisdom in that. But if, let's say, a child does express quite an intense interest in a particular thing, for example, dinosaurs, then you go down that route, and you go with them right down that route. You give them the books, you explain to them certain things, you explain it in a way that's fun, that's educational, etc. And you see maybe if that's their kind of innate tendency, maybe that's they have their brain just works in that particular way for dinosaurs and for paleontology and for digging up things and for researching all these different names and these different eras that different dinosaurs were in, and all the rest of it, all these kind of things, and then that sends them down that path. You see, it seems to be, to me, very, very simple, that really everyone's job is to try and locate within a child at a fairly young age their kind of innate thing, then focus on that, move them towards that, allowing them the kind of freedom to think, hang on, is this for me? Is this kind of something that I'm interested in? And you'll know that even if they're like 6 or 7, because they'll be like, oh, actually, no, I don't like this, and I don't think this is right, and they'll just chuck things away and all the rest of it. They won't like. So I mean, it's quite natural that we might do that. But you explore with them what sort of thing, and then you really reinforce that over a number of years, and by the time they're 15, that child could be bloody good at that one thing that they've shown kind of this in real, well, not innate interest in, but this real kind of drive towards, because of the way their brain works in a sense. And they've found the thing that they love to do, and they've even got good at it to some degree, or at least researched a bit about it by the time they're 15 or so, you see, and there we go, and that's how you do it. But of course it doesn't work like that. It's too messy, life, and parents have their own complexes. Children might not want to simply comply in certain ways. They just want to go out and play and all the rest of it and all that sort of stuff. But you see, even there's something to be gained, because you think, well, a child loves going out playing football and things like that. That's something to cultivate. But the problem is that not everyone, and see, this is where we run into problems. Not everyone can just be a footballer or be a great footballer or all the rest of it. So then people get confused and they don't know what to do, and they get a bit like this and that and all the rest of it. So it's not always like clear cut, but if you can get something like that, if you can get a bit of a feel, then you can move. And the other thing is, although it seems to me that you should never have a child if you, for example, if you have any kind of attachment to what that child is going to be in the future, you should not have a child. That's my philosophical opinion, because if you have any attachment to any idea of what that child is going to be in the future, you will probably push them towards that thing unconsciously when they might be something completely different. You have to be open to whatever that child is going to be, or even if they're not going to be anything, even if that child is going to be incredibly disabled and you're going to have to look after them for the entirety of your life, and you're going to have to sink a lot of hours into that child, and that child isn't necessarily going to do amazing things in, let's say, the conventional way of doing amazing things, because they simply can't. They've got this disability. You have to be open to every possibility, and you have to accept that profoundly. And if there's any kind of shred of, well, you know what, actually, if I had a child and they were disabled, I couldn't concentrate on my career, and I don't really know whether I could do it. If there's any shred of that in there, you do not have a child. You think to yourself, you've got to think about the worst, expect for the worst, in that sense of that child is going to be in your care. They might have an unfortunate life, but you can make it something. You can help them, and they can also help bring you happiness as well. But you've got to expect for everything, and you've got to accept everything before you make that choice of having a child. And the other, there's only two stipulations for me, for myself having a child, and for other people I would say as well. One is be open to any possibility of what that child would be. That's the main one. But the other one, well, not really main one, they're both very important. The other one is financial stability, financial independence, and money put away for that child, in the sense of, for a couple of years of their life or whatever, something, just good amount of money, so that then you are financially stable, you have that. And they're the two things, philosophically, I would say, for really having a child: the finances and the being open to whatever they are. Yes, okay, it might be very likely, if you are really interested in, let's say, philosophy or whatever, your partner is really interested in philosophy, then obviously in the genetics of that child, the way their brain works, it's going to produce a brain that has those specific traits, and they're going to likely be interested in philosophy. But you can't assume that. You have to think, well, okay, this child could be a musician or an artist or this or that, and you have to be open to that, and you have to think, whatever this child does, and I'm going to try and be very, very conscious of myself so I'm not directing them too much, whatever this child shows interest in from an early age, just naturally on their own, that just comes from their psyche, that's the thing that I test with them. That's the thing that we try and see whether it works. And if it works, brilliant. And we've got somewhere, and we've got them on that kind of that path on an early age. If it doesn't work, then you pull back and you allow that child to explore the world until they produce something new that they think, yes, this is it. But no, you can't. They're the two things. Anyway, I've rambled now. So what I'm going to do is I will check the chat, and then I'm going to go. I will check the chat, and I've got to go then, because I've got to have a shower. Jesus. Oh, I'm so tired. My God, I'm so tired. Pretty much all politicians lie to us at certain times when it's politically expedient for them. Yeah, I would imagine so. They do. Earl Grey with lemon and cream is pretty smart. Earl Grey with lemon. Why? Was that what it was? Oh, I don't know. I don't know, actually. They show remorse when they get caught. Yeah, well, show remorse. I don't know. It's just remorse. Well, when they get caught. Yeah, I mean, one sec. Yeah, they do. I mean, I think the thing that I was getting at there with my kind of little snigger is that, yeah, I mean, it's remorse, but is it remorse? You know what I mean? Is it remorse? How I missed this. Adz ignoring the chat for 30 minutes. All right, yeah, well, I get bloody rambly. It's not my fault. Immunology. Okay, immunology. Microbiology. Look at me. Oh, God, that's brilliant, isn't it? Political theatrics are sad. They must think the general public are so dumb they can't see through the nonsense. Oh, my God, the general public are not dumb. Jesus. The general public have, imagine, there's this... The way I conceptualize it, right, is this. And you might agree, you might not agree. But imagine, there's this collective intuition that the general public has. from interacting with all these different people in our social groups, and from interacting with people online, and for communicating constantly with different people, and then those people in our social group communicating with other people, and it kind of connecting up into this huge web of society, and people meeting each other for the first time at different locations and stuff, and having these kind of little general conversations about the country and all the rest of it that we about what's happening, what's going on in the country, and about these general things in the media and all the rest of it. Imagine that this kind of this collective intuition, this collective sort of third eye, if you will, or that formulates these opinions about things, about these topics that are in the news and all the rest of it. The general public have this kind of very unconscious, in a sense, intuition that is very piercing and very direct, and they can see it, and we all possess, and as an individual we all possess this intuition, but obviously as a collective we possess it as well, and we have a certain collective focus and a collective intuition that generally, to a greater or a lesser extent, aligns to our own intuition, and there'll be some overlap with regards to, while some of our intuitions will be collective, some will be more individual, of course. But I think the general public has this, and it doesn't matter at all about how smart you are or anything. This intuition is on a different level. It's on a kind of a wisdom level, a wisdom of mankind. It's not a thing to do with IQ or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that. It's like kind of this very piercing, very wise kind of natural thing that's within us, and it's formulated, of course, from this living in a larger society. And it's kind of a part, you could say it's a part of crowd psychology. And we see this, and then everyone points it out, and then that reinforces the intuition in other people, and they start to think, and they think, yeah, I know that, and I thought that, and all the rest of it. And you see, you get that, and it's weird, and it kind of reinforces itself, and then people have other intuitions and stuff, and then they talk to people and all the rest of it in their social groups, and it goes out and out and out, and then new intuitions get formed and all the rest of it, and these ideas and stuff as well. And there does seem to be this kind of ever-present, ever the same, but ever-changing intuition. And it's really, really odd, and it's really quite, it feels quite natural, and it feels kind of like part of living in a collective society, and it's wonderfully piercing, as I said. And I think that the general public have a lot of intelligence with it, but it's not IQ, it's like a wisdom. It's not really intelligence, it's like a wisdom more than an intelligence. You can try to rise above the dualism of politics, but no matter how idealistic you are, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the fact is, mechanics of politics will remain dualistic. Exactly. You can't. This is what I found more recently, actually. And it's taken me a long time to work through it. But if you are gonna live in the world, and you are gonna kind of discuss politics or talk about politics, you're always going to fall into, maybe not directly so black or white as one or the other, but you're always going to have a slight tendency to one or a slight tendency to the other. And yes, okay, it might change a bit over time, and maybe even, you could say, even in the day or in the weeks or whatever, there might be some graduated changes there, but the fact is, you're always going to be within that sphere of political duality, and it's hard to accept that, because if, let's say you see through this kind of idea and you want to be removed from it, it's hard to see that actually, fundamentally, you will always be within that structure, even if you don't want to. Even if you just avoid it, in a sense, that's still portraying a political opinion. And not only that, but aside from that, you, in your behaviour, even behaviour can be categorised by, let's say, conservative or liberal, you see. And so if your behaviour is one or the other in a sense, or sometimes this or sometimes that, you're still falling into that kind of political spectrum. And so there's no real escape from it. And it is kind of quite, well, it's not saddening, but it's kind of quite just, I don't even know what the word is. I can't formulate the correct word for it, but it's just weird and it's just not, doesn't feel quite freeing. I think that's the word, freeing. And even in that sentence there, well, it doesn't seem quite freeing. Well, of course, that's a liberal sentence. So right there, I'm in that kind of zone, you know. So even when I'm talking about, oh, well, I want freedom from politics, that's kind of a liberal stance. That's kind of a romantic revolutionist kind of stance, which is within the whole political idea and the whole way in which politics changes and transforms over the centuries based on, you know, kind of like the subjugation of populations and things that then spurs more of this kind of liberal attitude or whatever it may be, you know. So it's always in there, and you think, oh gosh, you know, what are you really gonna do? The body overreacts to the vaccine, and basically you drown on the what? On the detritus? Oh, detritus. I've heard that word before. What the hell does that mean? I've heard it. Detritus. I've heard that word before. What does that mean? Waste or debris. Oh, that's a bit, isn't that a bit like kind of weird or odd? Basically drown on the detritus. Wow. Detritus. God, that is a good word, isn't it? That is a really good word. Agree. I am so tired of the mask. I know what. It saves BTUs to have a double door. What is a BTU? Basket Task Unifier. Basket Task Unifier. British Thermal Unit is a unit of heat. It is defined. Oh, right. Okay. Okay, I get that. All right. We got it. We got it. I got that. That's good. Tea is a sub-theme in today's episode. Is it? Well, there we go. Okay, we can have a tea in this episode. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, I've not really looked into him that much. Like, obviously, it was before my time. Obama was kind of like a bit of my time because we watched the election in high school, and you know, it was in for 8 years. So between the ages of when I was like 12 and 20. So it was like kind of my time, but Nelson Mandela wasn't really my time, so I don't really know much about him. But obviously, I know that he did like huge for freedom and all the rest of it. So I need to look into him, and then maybe I'd be able to think, oh yeah, that guy, you know. But no doubt, probably is. He was a very complex, intelligent man with a wide knowledge of the world. I think a lot of folks here still consider him as one of our greatest prime ministers. Who's that? Pierre Trudeau. Oh, Trudeau. I've heard Trudeau. Yeah, I think maybe you're right on that, PvP possible. Yeah, I think we might have a couple of people here. Trudeau, Nelson Mandela, and Obama, maybe. They're like three good ones, you know. I mean, that might sound a bit like I'm putting Obama too much on a pedestal, because I think like Mandela and possibly even Trudeau might be a bit kind of like, some people might put them higher. But, you know, maybe just speaking on this kind of Zen attitude, I have to look into Trudeau more. But I've heard that name before. I've definitely heard him quite a few times before. So, yeah. General public are dumb and should not be allowed to decide. Well, right. There's people in the general public, right? Yes, okay, there's a lot of people with like a very low IQ, and there's a lot of people with, you know, even just like aside from just, let's say, the confined idea and the abstract idea, the hypothetical construct of, let's say, intelligence in a certain domain of IQ or something. There's a lot of people with low intelligence in general, for whatever that means. There's a lot of people for low intelligence. But that doesn't mean to say that they've not got a certain wisdom or they've not got a certain intuition. And yes, they may go along with a collective dogma or a collective idea, but they still have some sort of wisdom. Because I've met a lot of what, let's say, if I was being harsh and if I was being quite directing, you might say, well, they're not particularly the most intelligent. They're pretty low intelligent, all the rest of it. But on the flip side to that, whenever I meet those people, I'm always bloody surprised because they have a wisdom in them. They have this kind of weird, natural, almost instinctive wisdom within them that is always there. It's kind of like this kind of wisdom of life, in a sense. And you see it most of the time when you're meeting these people who are in the 40s or the 50s or older. Generally, if you're meeting a younger person who's low intelligence, they've maybe not cultivated much of that yet. So, yes, I would agree that there's a lot of people in the general population who are, not intelligent. And yes, they make mistakes and they kind of formulate ideologies and they formulate ideas about things and all the rest of it that really are just far too collective and far too kind of, just not really based in a full scope of the situation. It's just kind of going along with the collective ideology of things and just kind of, oh yeah, let's do this. And case in point is things like football and stuff where you get those crowd mentalities. People generally, when we're speaking about those crowds in football, what does everyone do when someone's won a football game? Everyone goes mental. They're down in pints, they're laughing, they're joking, they're all like doing this like as a collective, as a group, and they go out doing violence, vandalism, or whatever it may be. And that's because the crowd mentality, that all of those people, let's say they are of low intelligence, they have become unconscious of their individual will for that kind of time in the crowd, and they've just gone along with whatever the crowd's going to do. Now, obviously, the bigger the crowd, the worse this is, and so you have a huge crowd of people at a bloody football match. This is why you get like the bloody stampedes and people running onto the pitch and all that, because people can't bloody make an individual decision. You try and make an individual decision when you're in a crowd of 10,000 people. You will find it incredibly hard to keep your head, to keep your consciousness, instead of just running along with that crowd. Because what'll happen is everyone's running. You're all in that heightened moment of unconsciousness. Everyone, you're not really conscious of yourself. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, isn't this great? Everyone's running, everyone's fun. And then you just like swept into it. You actually, you have to have a stronger psychology than you think to not get really absorbed in that. You really do. And I think to myself, what would I be like in a crowd of 10,000 people? Would I go along with it? Because I consider myself as being quite aware of myself, but yet I know there's a lot of things within me that I'm unconscious of, and I don't know whether I'd be able to just like keep my head, keep my individual will. Maybe I would just go along with it. Maybe in the height of the moment, everyone, oh yeah, you just go along with the crowd. Crowd psychology is very primitive psychology, and it's very dangerous psychology as well, because if you get swept into that unconsciousness, and Jung talks a lot about this in, I think it's Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious in that book, and he does a good few pages actually on crowd psychology, and he basically says exactly this: if you get swept into the unconsciousness of the crowd, then you're gone. That's it. Your individual will's gone for a while in the crowd, and you're just doing whatever they're doing. So while I would say yes, okay, there's a lot of people who are like that, and then of course you do not want those people making particularly important decisions, or you don't want those people ruling the country per se, and of course in a sense they do because of democracy. there's still wisdom. There's still wisdom within those people, and I don't want to negate that. I don't want to say, well, there's no, they're just unintelligent people. Because I've had that view before. I've thought to myself before, oh, well, yeah, of course, and that's an arrogance of intelligence. That's kind of like, well, I've got a bit of intelligence, and this person over here's got a bit of intelligence as well, and also I'm friends with this person who's got quite a bit of intelligence, but these people over here, yeah, actually, they're not really, they're not really intelligent, they're nothing, they're dumb, all the rest of it. But it's not as easy as that, just to say, well, they're dumb. It's not as easy as that. And when Jordan Peterson talks about this, I first thought, no, I don't agree with you on that. I didn't agree with Peterson on that. I thought to myself, no, there are just people who are like completely dumb, not, really any wisdom in them or anything like that. But then I started to like really think about what Peterson was saying specifically. And I had already discerned myself kind of this idea of wisdom being separate from intelligence, which is what he talks about in one of his videos. And now I've been able to more see that. I actually am starting to agree with Peterson a little bit more on that particular thing. Funnily enough, I agree with Jung on a lot of things, but Peterson, there's partial things that I don't agree with, and there's partial things I do agree with. Like, I'm a bit more, I disagree with Peterson a bit more than I disagree with Jung. I don't know why that is, because Peterson took so much of his ideology from Jung, but yet there's certain things I do disagree with Peterson on. But then I started to come around to reality, and I started to think, well, actually, no, I kind of agree with that more, and I kind of see how that would fit, and how like people would actually have that, and how there is this kind of wisdom in people, and it's hard to describe even. It's hard to even like understand, Yes, PvP. It's called life experience. It is called life experience. That's a great way to put it. I mean, I said a minute ago the wisdom of life, and I think it is. It's life experience. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at that. But the weirdest thing is, for some people it works like, some people really, because I like to try and really dig into the phenomenology of these things. For some people it really works within them, and they really get it to a high degree. And then for other people, they get it to a lower degree. Now, you could say, in a Jungian idea, just to finish on as well, we've got the idea of unconscious individuation or individuation. Individuation being the idea of spiritual awakening, and then being able to overcome your complexes, your fears, all the rest of it, and attain a kind of whole individuality as integrated within society and within all of your social relationship, your immediate social relationships, and within a specific career as well, and all the rest of it. And you are consciously individuated because you've had the spiritual experiences to allow you to be consciously individuated. Now, unconscious individuation is like it's the same form as individuation. It's on the same level in a sense, but it's just that person hasn't become spiritually awakened. Now, what I see in my granddad is see a lot of the unconscious individual. Both granddads see a lot of the unconscious individuation, and they've got what we could say is that comes naturally with any form of individuation, the life experience, the wisdom of life. They've got quite a lot of that to a high degree. But then you look at other people who are maybe, let's say, they're not unconsciously individuated, they're not consciously individuated or anything like that. They've not got to individuation during their lifetime, which Jung actually says, and he very, very rightly says, considering my own kind of empirical observations of the world, that not everyone will get to individuation, whether it be conscious or unconscious. But the fact is, there are a lot of people who are like 70-year-olds or 80-year-olds who just don't even seem to have this life experience, this wisdom of life. And it's weird. It's like they've lived for this time, but yet they've not learned anything from it. They've not gained that much, They kind of have just lived for the time, and they've like lived through it, and obviously they have their memories of it and all the rest of it, but they've not got that much wisdom from it. it's kind of like they're kind of like being stuck in that 20 or 30-year-old attitude, and yet they're 70. And you see people like that. You can see them in society. It doesn't take a lot of intuition to pick up on those people empirically. A bit of people watching and all the rest of it. So there are certain individuals who get it more, and then there are other individuals who get it less. And I do think that intelligence does come into this to a degree. And this might be where intelligence relates to wisdom, because it seems to be that it's something in the idea of that intelligence can access wisdom and can kind of interrelate with it, and over the lifespan between experience and kind of theoretical knowledge and intelligence and abstract thought, that can build your wisdom of life. That can build your life experience higher. So therefore you can have a higher life experience. Some people would say about me, for example, and I really shouldn't comment about myself in one way or the other, because some people might say about me, oh, he's an idiot, oh, he doesn't know anything or whatever. And if that's their opinion, that's their opinion. You're never going to change people's opinions. But other people might say about me, on the flip side, oh, he has the wisdom of someone who's older, you see. And so I think it depends on the person. It depends on the ability to be able to perceive these certain things in life and the subtleties of life and experiences, and really divulge your attention in those experiences, Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. What I'm going to do, very, very quickly look at the herd mentality is dormant even if the people are smart within the herd. Yeah, I'd agree with that, because if people are smart in the herd, they would go along with the herd, which would generally be a kind of more unintelligent attitude. But the herd instinct is very interesting from Nietzsche. I've not really read much about it, but it's not a hard, the basic, simple understanding of the concept isn't hard. It's just we have this kind of desire, let's say, to go along with the herd and group in collectives and formulate opinions and all the rest of it in a collective manner rather than, let's say, solely an individual manner. But of course, there'd be a lot more depth to it than that, and I'd have to read a bit more on it to be able to fully understand it completely. But I've read quite a bit about crowd psychology, or even just like watch videos and stuff on it and learnt about it empirically myself. And so, there's a lot of that in there. No, I do know who Nelson Mandela is. I do. It's just I don't know that much about him. I know he was in prison for like 20 years. I know he did a lot of things for rights in Africa and all the rest of it. I just don't know, I really just don't know much about it. It's like, it's weird because I should know more about him. He's one of those like prominent figures. But it's just weird. Some people you just don't know about as much. It's weird. I don't know much about Napoleon. Maybe other people know a lot about Napoleon, or I don't know much about Salvador Dali, the artist. I don't know much about him, so maybe some other people know more about him. Or I don't know much about Lord Nelson, I don't. So it's it's like I don't know. Some people about, other people you don't know about. And I suppose it comes down to your experience and your accumulation of knowledge. I know a little bit about history, about historical figures, because of just the knowledge I accumulated in high school, but that's going back to like the kings and queens, like 1100s, 1200s, 1300s, 1500s, 1800s, not necessarily as recent as like 1980, 1990, etc. Right then, I am going to go in a second. Depends on what an individual's life circumstances are too. Some folks face hardship and face the challenges and grow larger thoughts. Indeed, they do. I think that's right, PvP. I think you're right on that. I think that that's very, very much the case, that people do have these hardships and they grow from them. They kind of think, they think more and they discern more. In reality, they experience more. They accumulate, let's say, more from experience. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Antoinette's just said in the chat there she is off, so I may as well take that as a sign that it's time to go. I will see you all next week. It'll be back on Thursday. What I'll do is I'll do my promos next week because I forgot to do my promos this week. So that's why we've had less people in the chat. Normally we have about, well, guys, ranged from like 8 to 17 or something. Last week I think we hit a high of like 15, 16, 17. So what I'll do is I'll do my promos next week so we get a few more people in, because I think that might be why we didn't have as many in. Sometimes it doesn't actually like send the notifications out very, very early and stuff. So if I do my promos, people know that it's on. And then, because I haven't done it for so long, but I think people still question me whether, like certain people might question me whether I'm doing it or not. But I am doing it every Thursday now. I'm conscious of it. I've got my alarm set. I'm doing it. So it is going to be next week, 7 p.m. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. So see you very soon, guys. See you soon.